Okay, let's dive into a puzzle that explains pretty much everything about why some people get rich while others, even with huge incomes, end up with nothing. And the secret? It has almost nothing to do with how smart you are.
So, on one hand, you've got Mike Tyson, one of the greatest boxers ever, who earned over $400 million. And on the other hand, Ronald Reed, a janitor who worked his entire life for minimum wage. Tyson went bankrupt. Reed, well, he died with a secret $8 million fortune. So how on earth is that possible?
Well, the answer is all about this simple but incredibly powerful paradox. When it comes to money, how you behave is way more important than how smart you are.
Just think about that for a second. It means that your habits, your emotions, your whole outlook on money, that's what really moves the needle. It's not some secret stock-picking formula or a fancy degree. And you know what the best part is? It's a skill that literally anyone can learn. Now, to really get this, we have to start with something that can be a little tough to swallow. We've got to accept that not everything is actually in our control. We're all being pushed around by two powerful invisible forces, luck and risk.
You know, we love to think our successes are all because of us, right? And our failures? Well, that's all our fault too. But the world is just way more random than we give it credit for. Sometimes you get a lucky break, and sometimes a risk you never ever saw coming changes the entire game.
I mean, check out the story of Bill Gates and his high school friend Kent Evans. Both were brilliant. Both were totally obsessed with computers. But Gates got a 1 in a million lucky break. His high school just happened to have one of the only computers in the entire country. Kent Evans, on the other hand, faced a 1 in a million tragic risk, a fatal mountaineering accident. One story changed the world, the other ended before it really began. Same skill, completely opposite outcomes, all driven by forces they just couldn't control.
So, if luck and risk are part of the equation, what's the other piece of this puzzle? Well, it turns out wealthy people aren't just playing the same game better than everyone else, they're playing a completely different game altogether.
And this is absolutely crucial. See, getting rich requires offense. It's about taking risks, being optimistic, making those bold moves. But staying rich, that requires defense. It's all about humility and having a healthy fear of losing everything you've built. Mike Tyson was an incredible offensive player, but he had zero defense. He confused getting money with keeping money, and that's the one mistake that has wiped out so many fortunes.
All right, so let me ask you this. You see a flashy $100,000 car drive by. What does that tell you, really, about the driver's net worth? The surprising answer is almost nothing. The only thing you know for certain is that they have $100,000 less wealth than they did before they bought it. And that right there is the core difference between looking rich and being rich. Looking rich is all about spending. But being wealthy, that's about what you don't spend. Real wealth is silent. It's invisible. It's the money that's working for you in the background, not the fancy stuff you're showing off to everybody.
So, if wealth isn't really about the luxury cars and the expensive watches, then what is it for? What is its real value? It turns out it's something way more valuable than just stuff.
It's control. It's having control over your time. The freedom to wake up every single morning and say, I can do whatever I want today. You get to choose what you work on, who you work with, and when you do it. That is the ultimate goal. Not a bigger house, but a life lived on your own terms. That's the real return on your savings.
And the most powerful engine to get you that freedom? It's called compounding. It's a simple idea, really, but our brains just aren't wired to really get its explosive power. Think of it like a tiny snowball rolling down a really long hill. It starts small, it starts slow, but eventually it becomes this unstoppable force of nature.
Take a look at this number. $81.5 billion. Now, what's that? Well, that's the amount of Warren Buffett's wealth that he earned after his 65th birthday. His skill is investing, sure, but his secret ingredient, his real superpower, is just time. He stayed in the game long enough for compounding to work its incredible magic.
So how do we actually apply these lessons? It all comes down to building a personal playbook, and it's built on 3 critical mindset shifts that you can start using today.
Okay, they are building a margin for error, defining what enough means to you, and learning to play your very own game. Let's break them down.
First up, build a buffer. Look, life is full of surprises, right? The market will crash, you might lose a job, your car will break down. That margin for error, whether it's cash savings or a diversified portfolio, is what keeps you in the game when bad luck inevitably shows up. It's all about financial survival. Second, you have to define enough.
The modern world is basically a machine designed to make you constantly feel like you're not enough. There's always a bigger house, a faster car. The real danger is moving the goalpost forever. The hardest financial skill in the world is getting that goalpost to just stop moving. Because if you don't define what's enough, you'll end up risking what you have and need for what you don't have and don't need.
And finally, play your own game. Seriously, stop looking at what everybody else is doing. Your financial decisions have to be based on your goals, your timeline, and what you're comfortable with. Copying some day trader you see online when you're saving for retirement is like a poker player trying to copy a blackjack player. You're playing different games with totally different rules.
So, after everything we've talked about, what does this all really boil down to? What's the one crucial question you should be asking yourself?
Are you playing a game to look rich, or are you playing a game to be free? Because they are two completely different games, and knowing which one you're actually playing will change every single financial decision you make from here on out.